What's up?
What's up?
What's going on, family?
Hi,
It is
everyone.
Sunday, and as
Happy
such, that
Sunday.
means it is time for another Inside the Relationship.
hmm
Um, well, they're all good. Let's just call it what it is, right? They're
Yeah,
all good.
they're all good.
This one will be good as well. I believe that we'll get some good conversation out of it. Hopefully, those who end up joining us live, or if you happen to be watching this via replay, um, we want to hear what you have to say about some of this stuff that we're going to be talking about today. Because I think this is going to be good stuff. Let me
Yep,
just
good
make
stuff.
sure
Good stuff. Good stuff.
we're actually live. Yes, we are live on Facebook and on YouTube. So
Okay.
tell a friend, tell a friend. All right. So,
Slap your neighbor and tell them we're live
yeah, that's what it said in the, that's what it said
in the
in the
description.
description, right? Slap your neighbor and let them know that you're live. All right. So listen, today, as you saw in the description, we are talking about several things today, but
hmm
two of them in particular are red flags,
Yep.
which you already know how those of you who have spent any time with us know how I feel about red flags.
Yes.
But we're going to talk about red flags. We're going to talk about also living, continuing to live together after separation.
Yeah. I. Mm. Let's talk about it.
All right, let's get into it. All of that and more on this week's episode of Inside
Inside
the
the
Relationship.
relationship.
Let's go.
Let's go.
You're watching Inside the Relationship with Denise and Ollie.
So sit back, relax, and let's talk about all things relationships. Yep.
Happy Sunday.
Here we are. Here we are. If you're here, let us know you're here. If you're in the comments, if you are watching a replay, let us know you're here via the replay. It is Sunday.
It is April.
It's April.
My goodness, we're almost to the middle of the year, guys.
It's April. It's April. And yeah. How you
We're
doing?
almost to the middle of the year. I'm good.
Good.
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yep.
I had to chuckle because okay, I'm gonna give a secret away. Nah, I'm not. I'm not. Forget.
Today you're not.
Never mind. Never mind. I changed my mind. Yeah, I'm good. So yeah, we didn't have a after dark conversation last night.
We did not.
If you're not sure what we're talking about, you know, there's some other ways that you can connect with us, and there's some great conversations that are being had in other areas, right? So let
Yeah.
me show you this right here. Make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel so that you can
Mhm.
catch this.
Yeah.
M- Most Saturday nights, we are having phenomenal conversations, after dark conversations. And what do we mean by that? When we say after dark conversations, they are adult conversations. They are conversations that are either taboo conversations or tense
Mhm.
conversations.
Yeah.
But we believe that conversations should take place.
Yeah.
The last one, not last night, but last week's, because we didn't do one last night. Last week's conversation, I was saying that I have never, ever been in any place where that conversation took place,
Yeah. It's true.
and that is important.
And these conversations we're not having here. So
Yeah,
you need to subscribe to our
you got to
channel
subscribe to the channel.
so that you can
And we'll talk about
catch those
subscriptions later on,
conversations.
but it's youtube.com/Denali LLC. Make sure that you are subscribed. You know, one day I think I'm gonna do a giveaway for the YouTube subscribers
Mm-hmm.
because we keep pushing for people to become a part of this community. Let's give them some
We
incentive to
should
be
maybe every so
a
often.
part of the community. We got the one and only fallible man in the house.
What's up, Brent?
What's good, fam? Thank you for coming through. Listen, if you're not following this guy, just take a peek over at his YouTube channel and
Yeah, amazing
you
guy.
hit the subscribe. That's all I'm gonna
He
say.
and his wife doing great stuff.
Outstanding content.
Hmm.
Just be, just know that you're in good hands when you go over there. You're in good hands. So listen,
Yeah.
let's jump into this. Let's jump into this. I think I want to get right into it. Good evening, Donna. Thank you for joining
Good
us.
evening.
Thank you for joining us on Inside the Relationship. So let's get into the first segment. I'm not even going to do any more preliminary talking. Let's just get into the first segment and let's talk about it. Actually, before I do that, let me just pull up this article just so I have the article, right? So just
Okay.
because there's some things that I want to pull out from the article, I think.
Okay.
So bear with me one moment. Sometimes these things happen, right?
So while you're doing that,
Hmm.
let's talk about spring break.
Spring break, that's already coming, isn't it?
I- It is. People are in the midst of spring break right now. If
Oh,
you go on a spring break, if you happen to go on a holiday with your family, let us know in the comments, what do you do? Do you just, is it a staycation, or do you go somewhere, go away? Because this is the time of year, spring break and summertime too, where the whole family can be together without anything else going on.
yeah,
So
true.
people often take advantage of the spring break. Kids are away from school, and it's just an ideal time to just regroup again as a family. So,
And that's important,
oh
regrouping
my
as a family.
gosh,
That's
so
so
important.
important. Good evening, Hollis. Good evening, Dave
Hi,
Kennedy III.
Hollis.
What's happening? Thank you for joining. Thank you. Hello to you as well. Listen,
Yeah.
so let's get into this. So that's good.
Hmm.
And we may circle back around to that in a little while because that's
Okay.
good. So let's get into this first segment. Thank you for all of you who are joining right now and who will watch via replay. Let's get into the first segment. First segment is the Media Mixdown. Okay, so in this week's Media Mixdown, and I can't wait to hear what the folk in the comments have to say about this. I'm this is going to be a good one. So in this week's Media Mixdown, I was reading an article in the New York Times, and I didn't even pull it up, but essentially, here's what the article was featuring: a couple in New York who they decided to separate.
Hmm.
Right? They decided to separate. They no longer wanted to be married. However, and they were living in a place in, so for those of you who are familiar with New York, they're living in a very small place in Greenwich Village,
Hmm.
1,000 square foot place in Greenwich Village, but they had a house out in Nassau County, right?
So they have
So
two
they had
places.
two places. So what they initially they were like, okay, we're going to sell that place, the vacation place, so that we can both live in separate homes because now we're going to be separated.
Hmm.
Then they decided, you know what? Our kids are 9, 7, 9, and 12, I think it was.
Hmm.
We're going to live in the same house.
Hmm.
The wife claimed the master bedroom.
Hmm.
The husband claimed the couch. And to pool their finances together and for the sake of the kids, they decided, okay, we're separated, but we're going to live in the same house. And what the article was saying in New York Times is saying that as unique as that may sound, that is a growing phenomenon,
Yeah.
that many more couples are now choosing to live together even though they're separated for financial reasons or for the kids or for both.
Hmm.
What do you think about that?
I don't agree with it.
You don't agree with that?
First of
Shout
all,
out to Ed Smith. Make sure you follow
what's
Ed and
up,
Debbie.
Ed? Listen, for the first of all, for the
Hmm.
sake of the kids, this
Hmm.
is not helping the kids at all.
Why not? Why you say that?
Because if you're separated, right, then be separated. If you're
Okay.
living in, I understand, their reasoning, financial, whatever, whatever. But my thing is, this is not helping the kids to see mom sleeping in the bedroom, dad sleeping on the couch. This is, to me, it's confusing for them. Are they together or are they not? What are they
All right.
doing? I don't think that this is doing the children justice at all. And secondly, I don't think, period, people should stay together for the sake of the children.
Okay, hold that thought for a second. Do me a favor, guys. Those of you, the 6 or 7, I think of you that are watching right now, do me a favor, share this with one person. I want some people to get into this conversation. I also want to get your opinion. Is it okay? Not is it okay, but what do you think about this growing phenomenon that they're talking about in the New York Times, where a couple will separate? So, for example, she and I separate, but we say, you know what? We're not going to move from here. We're going to live in the same house, even though we're separated. You're going to take one room. I'm going to take the next room because we want to pool our finances still. And we want to do something for the kid. We want to be here for the kids still. You're saying that that's not okay.
I don't think that that's cool for the kids, number one. And number two, that's kind of, I want to say selfish as far as financial reasons go.
Okay.
I feel like, look, if we're going to be separated, then let's agree upon what's what, like, what's it called? Alimony, spousal support, all of that type of stuff. If we need to go there, let's go there. Other than that, you're on your own, buddy.
Okay. So clearly what I'm hearing you saying is that if we were to separate, you would have to leave.
You would have to leave.
Why I got to leave?
I don't know.
Okay.
Hey, I might want to leave. So, hey, who knows?
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting because you hear about, here's the thing, why I thought this was interesting. You know how things progress. We get more and more progressive as it relates to how we, navigate relationships. It used to be, we're not going to get separated. And we're just going to live in misery for the sake of the kids and the finances.
Yeah.
Now this growing phenomenon is like, hey, we separated.
And then the kids,
but we're going to live in the same house.
Yeah, the kids are going to see you coming and going. Like, we're separated, but we still live in the same house. And our kid is going to see one of us coming and going and doing as we please. I just feel like that's just not a good thing. I just don't think that that's good.
Okay. Let's see what King Ed is talking about. So are we talking about a marriage that mirrors God's blueprint, or are we talking about Hollywood marriage? Yeah. So
yeah, and I mean, obviously it didn't say all of that
right
in the article, but
yeah, you're right.
You're
I mean,
absolutely right.
And that's where I was going when I said we're getting way more and more progressive.
Yeah.
I'm using that term loosely.
Yeah.
As it relates to how we navigate relationships. And so this is the growing phenomenon, according to the New York Times.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you think? I mean, I know your opinion, but what do you think about it?
I don't agree with, here's the thing. I don't agree with you being separated and staying in the same home.
Why?
Because then you're not separated.
You're not separated. Exactly.
Those of you who don't know me, I'm just a matter of fact kind of guy.
Yeah.
If you tell me that you're separated, I'm telling you, like my clients who, I don't know if any of them are watching, but if they were brave enough to out themselves, they would tell you that if you came to me in a session and was like, we're separated, but we live in the same house.
That's not a separation.
I'm going to give you a look. And then after that look, I'm going to be like, come on, what are we doing here?
So I wonder what they would consider a separation, because that clearly is not. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
So let me play devil's advocate, right? So you could be like, okay, we're not having sex anymore. We're not spending time anymore. We're not, but that's what people would say.
That's
right?
what people would say. But people that are together, but not having sex for whatever reason, not communicating well for whatever reason, yet they want to be married, then would they be looked upon as being separated?
Right.
No.
You're right.
That's
you're right.
Silly.
Hala said, I don't agree with being separated and living together.
Yeah, I don't either.
Brent said, you're either together or you're not. That's what I'm talking about.
Or you're not.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. Either together or you're not.
Yeah.
You're just adding confusion. Just like what you said. You're adding confusion to the kids, right?
Yeah.
King Ed saying, I don't agree with being separated and staying in the same house. When you do that, you're teaching the children how to function in their marriage. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yep.
Because now they're watching you.
That's right.
And they're watching this newfangled way of doing relationships. which I'm not going to get into what was happening, what has happened in the few days that everybody's been talking about.
Yeah.
But that was something that people were pointing back to, right?
Mhm.
She grew up in a very progressive household,
Right.
and hence took that into a situation where her husband really wasn't down for that in the beginning, you know. So, hence, folk getting slapped around at the Oscars. Anyway, we're not talking about that tonight, I promise you. However, slap your neighbor and tell them that they need to come into this conversation. So that's my thing. My thing is, yes, that's a growing phenomenon, but like it was said in the comments, what are you teaching your kids? And here's what's crazy.
Mm.
This is what's crazy about the marriage and relationship space. The marriage and relationship space, it's a tough space to navigate.
Mhm.
And you really have to now niche down to, it can't even be, it used to be broad enough that everybody could drive down the lane. And this is what I mean in terms of the concepts that govern marriage.
Mhm.
It's not like that anymore. You got to
Yeah.
pick a lane. You got to be a Christian marriage, or you got to be an open marriage, or you got to be a progressive. You got to pick a lane because
Yeah.
you get all these different kinds of people. So the folk who come to me, right? Because you see our clients. We've had clients in the past that are in these progressive kinds of relationships.
Mhm.
So the tough thing, and I would love Ed to chime in on this too, because Ed does this as well. The tough thing in those areas is speaking to the underlying and foundational concepts of growing a great relationship,
Mhm.
because the rest of the stuff doesn't
Right.
apply,
Right. Right.
because it's some of the other stuff, it aligns with certain belief systems,
Yeah.
and we're not in that space anymore. We're in a space now, according to the New York Times, where you can live together and be separated.
They need to come up
And
with
that's cool.
another phrase for what they want to call that, because it's not a separation.
Listen, all I'm saying is I want the room in the back where I got my stuff. That's my stuff is already set up in there. So just let me hang out. I'm just saying, we're
Oh
going to
my
say this in front
gosh.
of our family.
Oh,
If something were
stop.
to go down, just let me get in that back room where I got my stuff already set up.
Mm-mm.
We can stay here. We can pool our finances. You can still get your nails done and do whatever you got to do,
Stop it.
because that New York Times said it's cool.
Stop.
You don't think so?
And that's not cool. It's not a separation. That's silly.
Yeah. So all jokes aside, listen, either you're together or you're not together. And I understand listen, I can understand the financial piece to a degree. I really can.
I mean, I
I
get
can.
what they're saying, but it's also not fair to, what you're saying you want to do. Do you
Hmm.
want to separate or do you not?
Yeah.
I mean, because a separation with that comes the consequences of a separation.
Hmm.
And I believe that your financial situation is one of them.
Yeah. And
It's one of the
you gotta do something
consequences
with
of
it.
it. And I'm saying, separation sometimes may be warranted.
Hmm.
However, again, there are consequences to that. You can't live in both worlds.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I
Pick a
play
lane.
devil's advocate just for the sake of doing that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. Gamal said, what kinds of values are we basing this off of? Shout out to Gamal, first of all. Congratulations, bro. On the engagement. That's
Mhm.
dope. Congratulations. Yeah, what kind of values are we basing this on, right? Because that's really what it boils down to.
Yeah. Well,
Your belief system, I'm using that word kind of loosely. The things that happen in your life are going to align with that.
mm,
The challenge, the reason why I brought that up is the challenge uh for marriage professionals, whether in the clinical space or the coaching space, is you being adamant about where you align,
that's right.
because you're going to get all of these kinds of clients,
Yeah.
right? And so just the client who's like, we're going to be separated, but people know me. Listen, I'm going to tell you straight up. I'm going to be like, listen, we can talk about how you can coexist, and we can talk about the rules of that govern, you know, running a cordial scenario. But this is ridiculous. Like, you just gonna know that I don't think that it's, and I'm gonna tell you why for the kids, I'm gonna give you the different reasons why, and then you can determine
Yeah.
what you're doing. Let me catch up on some of these comments. So, good evening. First of all, good evening,
Hi,
Crystalline,
Kristen.
Danny, right? We called her Danny.
Danny,
Yeah,
that's
that's it. Shout out to Danny. Good evening. There are so many I'm assuming traditional
Non-traditional
family
family
systems
systems.
in staying time makes it hard for those with traditional mindsets to flourish.
Mhm.
Um, go ahead. Go ahead.
Mm,
Let me finish that because I
okay.
know what you're about to say. I agree that it's not a healthy family model for the children. Is this how we want our children to be treated in the future?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know what you're going to say. Go ahead, say it.
Um, I'm not sure if it I don't remember exactly what it said, but
Makes it hard for,
makes it hard for
yeah.
those with traditional mindset to flourish. I get it. I get it. I understand why you said that. I
What
understand why you said that.
I think what it makes difficult is we're not in a place now where we can present, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I'm just saying where we are. We're not in a place where we can present one specific ideology that governs the way relationships are run because everybody doesn't subscribe to that. And they didn't before either. But now it's just more prevalent. You have way more you have way more caveats, if you will, right?
Mm.
Because it's not just your marriage and whether it's open or whether it's progressive or whether you are a swinger or whether you're polygamous or whatever it is, or polyamorous or whatever it is. Now it's about identity as well.
So are you saying when you said that we can't present one specific ideology, do you mean we as coaches and
Yes.
therapists? I think that we can.
No, okay, you're right. We can, but everybody doesn't accept that.
Everybody doesn't subscribe to it,
Doesn't
but
subscribe
we
to it.
most certainly can
Right.
present it.
So, Gamal says something can be cool or not cool, depending on your underlying beliefs. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So, so that's it. That's the media mix down. We spent a little bit more time on that than we should. Doc, we need to take back marriage for what it's worth. Yeah, we do. And that's, I think, and folk like yourself, you and Debbie, that's what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
One at a time, because, going back to what we do,
Mhm.
the folk who sit with us, it's clear where we stand.
Absolutely.
Like, it's clear.
Mhm.
Even if they come with some, quote unquote off the wall or non-traditional, if you want to call it that to be politically correct, things, they know where we stand.
Mhm.
Right? We're always gonna point in a certain direction.
Up front.
And I think that's how you got to be. So listen, tell us what you think about that in the comments. That is the new growing phenomenon. For those of you who might have missed this, new growing phenomenon is that folk are separating but choosing to live together, either for the sake of the kids or for the sake of the finances. Tell us what you think about that. That was this week's Media Mixdown. So let's get into segment number 2, which is all right. So, question of the week. This is a good one. You ready?
I'm ready.
My fiance gets very jealous when I am not with her.
She always wants me to check in and even suggested that I stop hanging out with my friends. Except for this, she's incredible. Should I be worried? Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the answer.
Yep. You should be. Yeah.
You answered that real quick, didn't you? Okay.
Yeah. That's not that you know me. I'm already the type of person that needs my alone time and space and stuff like that. So if you were gonna be like that, if I knew that about you,
Mhm.
I'll be like, I don't know if this could work, bro.
Listen, so
That's concerning because why can't I hang out and without you?
right.
That's concerning.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick up on some key words. This is from the last segment. Brent said, "Let's not pretend for the sake of the kids. It's about the high cost of living." Now, I'm with you on that, Brent, because
100%.
they lived in a small, and I'm gonna tell you, the article say they lived in a 1,000 square foot place in Greenwich Village.
Yeah.
Husband, wife, 3 kids in a 1,000 square foot place. So they're already tight,
You hit
right?
the nail on the head with that, Brent.
But they have another place which is bigger, but it was a vacation place, and they thought about selling it so they could get 2 places, and they were like, "No, we want to keep the money."
Yeah. See?
Yeah, so you're right.
Yeah.
So Brent also said red flags.
Red flags.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing that stands out to me in this question. The first thing that stands out to me is the word jealous.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know up front that she's jealous, and then you're asking, should you be worried?
Right.
Absolutely.
So my fiance gets very jealous.
Mm-hmm.
Red flag.
Red flag.
We don't even have to read the rest.
That's it.
Red flag. My fiance gets very jealous when I'm not with her. Okay, let's keep going. Let's say you want to try to rationalize with me and be like, no, the flag is mauve or the flag is burgundy. Okay, cool. Well, we'll take that.
Very jealous is the foundation of the whole topic.
Right. Then she always wants me to check in, which we'll come back to that. And even suggested that I stop hanging out with my friends.
Mm.
That's red flag number 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The very quick answer to the question of should you be worried?
Yes.
Is yes.
You should be worried, because it just sounds like a what's the word? Insecurity issue here.
Sounds like an insecurity issue. It says, so everybody don't have to accept marriage is a divine institution when God is the blueprint. If you are not building according to the blueprint, then you can't call it marriage. Yep, I said it. So yeah, I think that's referring to the last segment as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. It's just like the segment we did before, the media segment where we're talking about people living together but not being married. That's also a growing phenomenon.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And then making excuses why they shouldn't be married. Dude, if you've been living with somebody for 20 years, you married, bro. Like, don't give me a reason why you can't get married.
Yeah.
When your living relationship is longer than most people's marriages. I wouldn't
say that you're married, because if you're not married, you're not married.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
It's not,
you can get married at that point.
Yeah, there's no excuse.
Yeah.
All right, so for this, here's my thing. Here's what I'm going to say. And I've said it a million times. Red flags do not change colors.
That's right.
Flags don't change colors. Mm-hmm. And now we're getting real. I like it, but yet I don't like it. We're getting very technical, and we're trying to figure out new and cool ways of going about this whole marriage enrichment thing. So now they're talking about yellow flags and green flags and white flags and all this kind of, and I get it. I know what we're trying to do. We're trying to be progressive in the way that we help couples. But here's the thing. Flags don't change colors. Mm-hmm. Now, you gotta make a decision. And you gotta decide, is this something I am willing to attempt to navigate for the rest of my life, potentially?
Yeah, because go ahead. Sorry.
No.
Finish your thought.
All I was gonna say is because here's the thing. People change. Mm-hmm. Those of us who believe in God know that God changes hearts and minds. So she, except for this, she's incredible. Maybe that is something that is just something that she just needs to work on, and through coaching and through prayer and through different things, she will be phenomenal. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to tell you to run.
Right.
I'm going to tell you got to make a decision. Mm. And you got to decide, is this something that I'm willing to navigate? Am I willing to be able to talk to her? Is she going to go to counseling? Are we going to do all of the things that it takes to navigate this?
Yeah.
And if you're cool with that, but you should be worried.
My thing about this question also too is, it sounds to me as if this person already knows that this is a potential issue, because at the end, it's almost as if they're trying to soften the blow
with the except for this.
Mm-hmm. She's incredible. Yep. Well, you already said something that doesn't sound so incredible.
Yeah, good point.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the person already knows this is something I probably should pay attention to and be concerned about, but let's soften it over. Maybe can we sweep it under the rug
Mhm.
type thing? Nah, bro.
Can I get a little bit more controversial?
Yes, because that's you.
If this were the flip and it said my fiance gets jealous when I am not with him, we would have told her to get out of here, get out of there immediately.
Mm,
Tell the truth.
I disagree.
You disagree?
I disagree.
Do you? Why?
I feel like I would still feel the same way.
Okay. I
feel
just had to throw that in there.
I feel like I would still feel the same way.
That's just the kind of stuff I do. But
Yeah.
here's the thing. Yes, you should be worried.
Mm-hmm.
You have a decision to make because flags don't change colors. This will either get better or it will get worse. Is that a gamble you're willing to take?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Me, it's not a gamble I'm willing to take.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's not a gamble I'm willing to take because here's the thing. The jealousy thing is one thing. But the thing about you saying that I need to stop hanging out with my friends.
Well, that is due to jealousy and
Yeah,
insecurity.
Yeah, but that speaks to a level of possessiveness that lends itself to some really bad situations.
I mean,
if you're possessive to that, if I'm possessive to that point where I'm like, you can't hang out with your friends,
Yeah.
that is a problem.
That's a problem. I agree. That the underlying thing is jealousy, which I guess under the underlying thing under that would be insecurity.
Yeah. So that's my thing. Listen,
Even with it becoming dangerous and potentially harmful, it's all insecurity.
Right.
At the end of the day.
And this is not even, honestly, this is not even something that we can debate that long. Just let us know, those of you who might be watching this by the replay, what do you think? Yeah. Should he be worried? Some people be like, nah, you shouldn't be worried.
And then,
I think you should be.
And then, too, the next thing is, have you guys talked about this? You know what I'm saying? Or is this just, she gets jealous and are you going along with her jealousy requests?
Right.
Or have you talked about it?
Because, and here's the thing, with the first part, with the jealousy part, right? Sometimes that can be traced back to something else.
Oh, most of the time.
Right. So there's
got to be a reason. People aren't just jealous for no reason.
Right. So with the needing me to check in all the time and that kind of thing, that could be tied to some level of abandonment issues that happened in the past. Mm-hmm. That could be tied to some relationship things that didn't go well, or some parental things that didn't go well. Right. Yeah. So the question still remains, are you willing to do what it takes to navigate that space, or not? Mm-hmm. Because that space has to be navigated. Yeah, it has to be.
Absolutely.
Gamal said, I'm more concerned with her being unreasonable than her being jealous.
I feel like being it is unreasonable, but mm-hmm. I feel like that comes from the jealousy, though.
Okay.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. So the quick answer is yes, you should be worried, because mm-hmm. that's the question you asked. Mm-hmm. The rest of it was context. The question you asked was, should you be worried? Yes, you should be worried. And you should now, if you were to ask me what next steps are, which you didn't, but I'm just going to say that. If you were to ask me what next steps are, the next steps are you have to evaluate. If this person is, like you said, except for this, she is incredible.
Incredible, yeah.
You have to evaluate now. What are the things that need to take place in order for you to mitigate this amount of jealousy, to come to some level of negotiation as it relates to check-in? Because I check in with her. Mm-hmm. So that's not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But the negotiation around this checking in and being involved with friends in this possessive manner that's being described.
That's it. Yep.
Is she open to coaching?
Mm-hmm.
There's some questions that I would ask. Is she open to coaching? Is she open to hearing from you? Mm-hmm. Like you said, have you had a conversation? Is she open to understanding why this could be a problem?
Yeah.
And depending on how you answer those questions, I'm going to tell you you have some decisions to make. Mm-hmm. Because if she's not open to those things right now, you have to decide, is this a gamble you're willing to take? Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that you can't get over it. It's not something that you can't get around.
It isn't.
It isn't.
It's not something that cannot be taken care of, resolved, remedied, or whatever. But it's got to start with the conversation if you haven't had that conversation.
And I will say this before we move on. Let me get this comment. I am going through something similar. I think it's a control issue.
But the control issue is why? What's the underlying reason for the control issue?
So
There's a reason. Insecurity. Why? Why are you so insecure that you feel like you need to control me?
So you mean, well, let me see. She just put up another comment. Let me see what that is first. It seems to gradually get worse. It is probably better for him to take a step back and reevaluate. So I'm going to say this. What God has given us common sense. God has given women and men a certain degree of discernment and intuition. If something is getting worse,
don't ignore it.
Do not wait to make a decision. Because we don't do that in any other area of our lives, right? If the roof is falling down piece by piece on top of our heads right now, we're not going to be like, oh, well, it might stop.
Yeah.
The pieces aren't really that big. It doesn't really hurt that much. I'll be able to patch it up. Let's see if a couple more fall. Then no.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
Yeah.
When the kitchen sink was leaking, we were like, oh, you know what? Let's wait till
stop.
Yeah, it'll stop. Or let's wait till we have 5 buckets. We only have 2 right now. So no, we don't do that anywhere else.
Yeah.
Do not do that in your relationship.
Yeah.
This is not the only person out there.
Yeah.
Like, don't subject yourself to that.
You don't have to.
You don't have to. Can it get better? Yes. You can argue that all day long. Can it get better? Yes.
But
is
how
that
long are you going to wait?
Right. How long are you going to wait? And is that a gamble that you think is worth
you?
And in some cases, your life.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I agree.
All right. So we're going to leave that one alone because we getting a little, like turn on the fan. Go ahead. Turn it on. Turn on the fan. That's the thing. And here's the last thing I would say to that. Do not walk down the aisle without these decisions being made and the strategy put in place to mitigate these things prior to you saying I do.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't ignore it. It's
a red flag. It's a red flag. I have a client right now who is going through that where they're one party is upset that a proposal has not happened. So they're upset that they haven't gotten married yet, but they're dealing with all of this stuff that should be dealt with before you get married. And I just told them, I was like, listen, can we put that proposal on the shelf?
Yeah.
Put it in a place where you can see it. I'm not saying it's got to be on the back burner per se, but put it on the shelf where we can see it, because all of this, a proposal ain't gonna fix all of this.
That's right. That's 100%.
So, all right, make some decisions.
Yeah.
Make some decisions, folks. Family, make some decisions. During the dating process, did it manifest itself? Did you have a convo and these issues? Yes, I agree with that. All of those things that you should have to, you should look at.
Yeah, for sure.
So give us your opinion on that. Again, for those of you who are wanting to have your questions answered, you can most certainly have your questions answered. You can send those questions to admin@denali.org, and we will answer those questions to the best of our ability. Send them to Denali, admin@denali.org. All right. So we got a few minutes left. We got a couple more things that we want to say before we get out of here. And we also have the last word that's coming up. But before that, let's get in a word from our sponsor. We love our sponsor. Those of you who follow us know we love our sponsor. It is one of our favorite sponsors. So let's get into that after this quick word from our sponsor. We'll be right back. All right. All right. We almost didn't come back, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh gosh.
So listen, for those of you who are so inclined to help us out with these t-shirts, man. Matter of fact, we got on two of them today.
We do.
The 2020 Before Hindsight t-shirt, which is an ode to the book that I wrote, Overcoming the Man Laws, and the Hey Girlfriend t-shirt, solidarity for women across the world. If you're so inclined to help us out, you can go to pressandsoul.com/Denali. Get your t-shirt there today. All right. So before we get into the last word, you guys know that, well, those of you who have watched this show before know that we kind of go into a couple minutes of just some things that we want to share that are on our hearts. And today, the thing I want to share that's on my heart is this. And this may not apply to everybody because your marriage may be in a place where you don't feel like, you know what, I'm going to take that back. Your marriage is never in a place where you cannot benefit from some level of enrichment.
Absolutely not.
Let's be clear about that.
Always. You can always benefit from it.
Excuse me. Let's be clear about that. But this is for the couple who is choosing for some reason or another to explore the clinical space or the coaching space for a way to rebuild some things in their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the disclaimer.
Uh-huh.
It is important that, well, let me say this. Let me say it because, I like to use shock value things. The clinical space and the coaching space will not work for you if you have not made a decision
Mm-hmm.
to be committed to the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
Now, making a decision to be committed to the process is not the same as you being able to map out or see the outcome. So I'll use myself as an example. And I'm guilty of this, there are some things that I don't commit to
Mm-hmm.
initially, or I don't agree to commit to or decide to commit to because I cannot see the end result.
Got you. Okay. I got you now.
Those two are not the same.
Mm-hmm.
You can agree that you are going to commit to the process
Right.
without seeing the end result.
Yeah. Oh,
You can.
that's like a faith walk.
It is. Here's what that commitment is. Commitment requires consistent effort. So what you're agreeing to is that I'm going to put in the consistent effort
Yeah.
that is needed to get us through this process.
Mm-hmm.
If you cannot make that decision, don't even look for the coach or the therapist or the counselor.
Yeah. It's not gonna work.
You have to make that decision. The second thing you have to do is once you make that decision, know that part of the consistent effort
Mm-hmm.
is making adjustments.
Yeah. You're gonna have to make adjustments.
So here's the thing. I have great respect for the lady who told us. Remember, we were in a seminar some years ago,
I know what you're
and
gonna
the
say.
seminar turned into like a coaching session for one couple.
Mm-hmm.
What just happened? Did we go out?
Was it because I turned this off?
I don't know. It might have been. No, we're still here. We're still here. The screen went out.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't go out, but I think the screen went out. So we're in a seminar.
Yeah,
some years back.
I remember.
This particular day of the seminar turned into a live coaching session for a particular couple.
Yeah, I remember.
I got great respect for the person who does what this woman did to me. She said, "Listen, I hear you. However, I've been this way for 40 years.
That's just who I am, and I'm not
And
gonna change now.
I ain't changing."
Yeah.
I have more respect for that person
Yeah.
than the person who gets on the discovery call, signs up for the session, takes the assessment, goes through all these series of sessions, and then it's like, nah, gets to a place to where they got to make an adjustment. They're like, nah, I don't think I want to do that.
Wow. Hey, that's their time. You know what I'm saying?
It is
It's
their time.
disappointing, but
It is their time.
that's their time.
Brent said was still here. Yeah, the screen went out on us. So
Yeah.
so the thing you got to recognize, to love is to take the risk that you may not be loved in return. Relationship is a faith walk.
Sure
Indeed.
is.
And so if you're going to go through this process,
Mm-hmm.
and again, I'm transparent. She can tell you. She sits in these discovery calls with me sometimes. I'm transparent. I'm going to tell you up front. Listen, are you going to? There's two questions I ask every couple.
Yeah.
The first question is, identify your ideal marriage or ideal relationship.
Mm-hmm.
The second question is, and there's some nuances to that, but that's essentially the first question. The second question is, are you willing to make a decision that you will make whatever adjustment is necessary in order to achieve what you identified in question number one?
Right.
Then I take them through what everything is. Things that you don't like to do,
Mm-hmm.
things you've never done before, things you're not sure about, and on and on and on and on. Are you willing to make whatever adjustment that is necessary to achieve what you identified in question one?
Mm-hmm.
And then be clear about this, ladies and gentlemen. The adjustments are not a threat to your authenticity.
Correct. That doesn't change who you are as a person. That
It
doesn't
does not.
change who you are as a person.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
And here's for those of you who have been with me before, just bear with me. You'll be like, here it is again. But here's the analogy I often use. If I am a basketball coach and I go to the point guard and I tell the point guard, hey, I've been noticing that against left-handed opponents, you pivot the wrong way. Next time against your left-handed opponent, why don't you pivot this way? I'm asking him to make an adjustment.
Yeah.
Is he no longer a point guard?
Yeah. He's still a point guard. Yep.
I'm asking him to make an adjustment that actually is going to benefit him in the long run.
Yeah. And he may not see that because that's not what he's used to doing.
Right.
But as his teammate that can see outside from the outside looking in,
Mm-hmm.
he's got to be able to trust his teammate that
And his coach, right.
And his coach, his teammate and his coach. Yeah, I don't know sports. He's got to be able to trust everybody else on his team and his coach. They must see something that I can't see. They are my teammates. This is my coach. So clearly this is for the good of the team.
Mm-hmm.
So let me go ahead and make this adjustment. If it doesn't work, then I won't, and maybe I'll try it more than once.
Yeah.
I'll try it more than once and see if it works. If it doesn't, then we can try another adjustment. But at least I'm going to try it because they're for me. My teammates and my coach are for me. So, if they see something that I can't see because it's from a different angle, I've got to trust that.
Yeah. Agreed. 100%. 100%. Rich Thomas, what's good, bro? This sounds like great counsel that should be given and used before marriage.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
It should be given and used before marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Often it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why when couples come to us, that is literally those two questions come out in the first session every time.
Yeah, in the beginning. It's got to.
Because I want you to make some clear, definitive statements about how you're going to navigate this process.
Right.
And here's what I tell couples. I'm like, listen, the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want to waste your time. Mm-hmm. and some couples look at me funny, like, you don't want to, like, normally they say, I don't want to waste my time. No, you're not wasting my time.
This is what we do for a living. And so this is your time that would be wasted.
Yeah. So, just those are the things that I believe and what I that will also take him out of his comfort zone.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Yeah, for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. And you have to listen. We are married. We've been married over 21 years, coming up on 22 years, right? We still have to make adjustments. So that is not just a concept for the person who is rebuilding. Excuse me. That is not a concept for the person who is rebuilding. That is a concept for married people.
Married people for life. Because, and the reason why we still have to make adjustments is because we're not the same people that we were 21 years ago.
Right.
We're not the same people that we were 10 years ago.
Right.
And so as we evolve and change and life happens and life evolves around us and changes, we have to adjust.
Got to.
We have to adjust to that. We have to adjust to each other. And so we got to figure that out.
Yep.
The adjustment piece.
Got to do it. So that was what's on my heart for this week and for that little middle segment. Make sure that you are committing to the process. Commitment requires consistent effort. Consistent effort is also going to, a part of that is going to be some level of adjustment. Make sure that you are serious about that when you sign up for a therapist, psychiatrist, counselor, coach, mentor.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. So listen, before we get out of here, let us very quickly get into the last word, and then we're going to get out of here. It's time for the last word. What we got today?
Last word. So last week, no, not last week. We weren't here last week. Were we? Whenever it was.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
We are the last word was taken out of our journal, and I think I'm gonna do that again this week.
Okay.
So here's our journal. If for those of you who have not read it, I can't do this.
Yeah, because
it's a glare. Anyway, this is our journal. It's the Have a Conversation Couples.
I'll throw it up on the screen too.
Journal. And I'm just going to take the last word from it. It says, your marriage is either an example of what to do or what not to do. Live accordingly.
Wow. That's a mic drop last word.
Yeah. Your marriage is either an example of what to do or what not to do. Live accordingly. So in other words, whether you are in a space where you're more visible, like we are, or whether you're just living day to day, maintaining the marriage the best you can, just know that there's always somebody watching you. And so they're going to either see what to do or what not to do. And what would you prefer that they see?
Yeah.
Live that way.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. There's nothing else really to be said about that. Listen, if you're a part of our Facebook family, we would love to have you as a part of our YouTube community.
Come on over.
Come on over to YouTube. We're trying to build that. Sorry, that's definitely not where we want you to go. We want you to go here to youtube.com/Denali LLC. Please go over there and subscribe. We would love to have you there. Click the bell. There are so many different things that we have over there for you that you can be a part of. Listen, we love this Saturday night show that we do. Typical, not every Saturday night, but often, called Have a Conversation After Dark. The conversations are real. The conversations are rugged. The conversations are raw. The conversations are about things that are either taboo or tense. Yeah. Conversations that we don't typically have. There's also another series called Coaching Chronicles, where I am sharing actual excerpts of coaching sessions.
So good.
So just in case you're like, oh, well, he said this is how he is, and he's come see.
So good. So good.
Come see.
So good. Best
All right.
coach I know.
Come see for yourself what's happening over there. Listen, we would love to have you. And let's catch up on some of these comments, and then we're going to get out of here. 15 years married, 18 years together, and we make adjustments every day.
Man.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Such a true thought and such an important consideration. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, it is.
Your marriage is an example.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
One way or the other.
Trust and believe.
Mm-hmm.
Your marriage is an example one way or the other. Listen, this was a good one.
Was good.
This was a good one. If this was your first time seeing us on Inside the Relationship, please go back to YouTube and check out the rest of the episodes. They are just as good, or maybe even better, some of them. Who knows? Just as good. So we are grateful to be a part of this community. We're grateful for those of you taking the time out to hang with us today. And for those of you who are watching the replay, we love our community. We love the love. We hope that there is something that you get out of this.
Yeah.
Something you see or hear by following us here or on our various social media platforms that will give you some hope and encouragement, because that's our goal. Our goal is to share our journey in hopes that it will encourage and inspire you on your journey. So we're going to leave you with two things before we get out of here. Those two things are this: be intentional today about creating an experience that will grow your intimacy. Mm-hmm. And the second thing is,
until your 1 + 1 is 1, you're never done.
All right, family. We love you.
Good night.
Good night. We'll see you next week.